Although I don't know if it's going to be rebroadcast on YouTube or not, but I did record it to um, to my DVR so I can go back and DVR. No, that's dating myself. That's old technology. I recorded it to my television, and so I can go back and look at it. Today we are concluding our April series, Fertilizing Our Future, which is a call to focus on the long-term cultivation of our inner and our outer worlds, much like what John Denver was offering to us to remember the connection, the oneness of all life, of all that there is. And today our talk is Embracing the Power of Regenerativity, which is a profound spiritual practice emphasizing the continuous cycle of renewal and growth. Renewal and growth. A little bit of trivia for today. For those of you who may not know, today is Tell a Story Day, Tell a Good Story Day. And this is something that is celebrated annually on the 27th of April. And it reminds us that stories are one way that we connect with each other. Stories allow us to remember, to heal, and to dream. And whether it's a tale of love found, a spiritual awakening, or perhaps that time when an uncle or a cousin or a relative tried to deep fry a turkey indoors, which does not work, a good story lingers long after the telling. And so in our spiritual communities, storytelling can be a beautiful invitation to share the sacred stories that shape our lives and the transformation that we experience, those moments of grace and harmony, and the personal transformation that we come to see when we realize that we can see things a little bit differently. As was offered in our inspirational reading this morning, be mindful of what we feed our mind, to care for our mind, to make sure that we are feeding our mind with uplifting and positive thoughts, that we are nurturing it and nurturing it with food and rest and exercise, all of the things that support us in living this abundant life that we are blessed with. Viewing this from a science of mind perspective, through sharing our stories, we embrace the power of regenerativity. And this is a call to see ever-ending and new beginnings, transforming challenges and obstacles into personal and spiritual development opportunities. And I like the word opportunities because sometimes when we face the challenges of life, we can look at them as an opportunity to move from one place to the next, or to stay where we are, or to just be in this moment and to allow things to unfold in the normal way that they unfold. And one of the discussion points for this morning is the phrase, "Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." And this is an oft-quoted biblical phrase that comes from Romans 12:2. "Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." And this serves as a reminder of the essential role of mental and spiritual pathways in our personal transformation. Ernest Holmes, in the Science Mind textbook, writes this about the renewal of the mind. And he says, "The renewing of the mind is a scientific act. As the consciousness pours through into the subjective channels of creative energy, the body is automatically renewed. This is mental healing." And when Holmes talks about the subjective channels of the mind, it reminds me of mental molds. And then when I was coming through, when I was new to the practice of Science of Mind, it took me a minute to grasp this idea of mental molds. And then someone broke it down for me into a bite-sized piece that I could digest. And a mold is, if you are a cook in any way, there are molds that are used to shape various cooking dishes that we're preparing, to shape and form cooking. And so this is how our mind has different molds. And these molds expand as we grow in consciousness, as we remember the essence of who we are, as we remember our oneness. And it's also similar to the story of the fisherman that is out and he's catching these really gigantic fish, just having a really good day. And as he catches them, he looks at them and he throws them back into the water. So there's another fisherman that is observing this, and he goes over to him and he says, I don't mean to intrude or be nosy, but I'm noticing that as you catch these phenomenal fish, you're throwing them back into the water. And he responded and said, well, I'm looking at them and I'm measuring them, and I only have a certain size frying pan. And so they don't fit into my frying pan, so I'm throwing them back. And so the moral of that story is get a bigger frying pan. And this is how it works when we are renewing our mind, to be transformed by the renewal of our mind. And we're using these mental molds, we're planting into the subconsciousness the creative energy that allows us to expand. Holmes goes on to say, mental healing is a conscious act as well as an established fact. It is the experience of many people. Instead of the old concepts of disease and failure, we are to inject those of liberty, freedom, health, harmony, and success. So these are the ways some of the ways that we renew our mind, by letting go of this idea of disease and failure. And of course, we learn from our failures. Unfortunately, we're not always taught that. We're taught that failures are bad, that you've missed the mark, or you're not good enough, or whatever the negative annotations are. But we learn through our failures. And I'm thinking of Einstein, Edison, with the light bulb. How many times did he try before he was actually successful? And so it's learning from those failures, learning from the thoughts that have not served us up to this point, and remembering that I can change my mind, I can have a new thought. Actively renewing our minds allows us to cultivate a mindset that is open to change, that is adaptable to new circumstances, and receptive to growth. Transformation is not just about changing our thoughts. It is about fundamentally reshaping our perceptions, our attitudes, and our responses to life's changing circumstances. The next point that I would like to cover this morning is the renewal and the law of growth. These are essential to the continued personal and spiritual development and rejuvenation. And as I'm going through these, what we're really talking about is transformation. It's from moving from one phase to another, reinventing, reinvigorating, renewing the various aspects of life that allow us to continue to move forward. The law of growth suggests that living beings are in a perpetual state of becoming, driven by an inherent need to evolve and expand. So it is part of our makeup, it is part of our DNA, it is part of the design that we continue to evolve and expand. Renewal is the process of refreshing and revitalizing our mind, body, and spirit, and it is crucial to our ongoing growth. It ensures that we do not become stagnant, but remain dynamic and responsive to life's ever-changing circumstances. You'll notice that we're emphasizing life's ever-changing circumstances, and it's being in this flow, being fluid to move through the challenges that life offers to us, and to know that everything is always working for our highest and our best good. Here again is where we recognize the transformative practices of visioning, meditation, reflection, spiritual care, and continuous learning that allow us to embody renewal, clearing out the old to make space for the new, where we experience sustained vitality, adaptability, and profound personal expansion. We align with the natural rhythm of growth, ensuring that we constantly evolve and reach our highest potential. And then the next point that I want to illustrate or highlight for us this morning is following your intelligence. Intelligence is that which realizes or makes actual what is otherwise merely potential. And I'll give you a little scientific background onto this word or this concept of intelligence. It's a concept that is attributed to Aristotle, and it's the distinction between matter and form, or the potential and the actual. Aristotle analyzed that each thing has the stuff of elements of which is composed and form which makes it what it is. So there are elements and form that come together to create what we experience as is. You know, the world as it is, our life as it is, our daily experiences of what it is. The mere stuff or matter is not yet real. It needs a specific form, an essence, or a function to complete it. Matter and form are not separated. They can only be distinguished. And so I have a story that I think will illustrate this. A sculptor named Lena bought a block of marble so large and plain that her friends thought that she had lost her artistic eye. They said, "This is just a rock." Lena smiled and replied, "It's not a rock, it's already a dancer." For months, Lena chipped away morning to dusk. People shook their heads as chunks of stone fell away. Yet Lena grew more certain of her vision of what she was seeing. And then one day, she stood back, covered in marble dust, and there she was, a dancer, poised in mid-leap, alive in stillness. Someone said, "You saw her as a stone." No, someone said, "You saw her in the stone." Lena replied, "No, she was already there. I just set her free. The dancer was always within." And so I asked this morning, where's the dancer within each one of us that is waiting to be set free? Where is it in our vision? Where is it in our consciousness? Where is it within our expanding our mental molds that we see this dancer? Or whatever it is that the vision is that you have for yourself, where is it that you are setting this free by the renewal of your mind? This transformative process of self-awareness, reflection, and the courage to pursue passions and aspirations wholeheartedly involve nurturing the mind, the body, and the spirit, and supporting our well-being. And this morning in my meditation circle, our facilitator posed this question for us to contemplate. And I'm going to share it with you this morning, because I think it ties in with what we're talking about. And the question is, what would my life be like if I trusted my consciousness more than my fears? What would my life be like if I trusted my conscience more than I trusted my fears? And so embracing the power of regenerativity means recognizing and overcoming obstacles as necessary steps in our evolution. Each challenge presents an opportunity for deeper understanding and greater resilience to recognizing and honoring the essence of who we are and our unique gifts that only we can bring to the world. Our unique gifts that were planted in us when we came into this expression. And while we are living in this expression, it is our responsibility to share these gifts with the world. Don't leave with an unfulfilled dream. We embrace and tell the stories of the cycles of life with grace and optimism, understanding that each story reveals the potential for transformation. Our transformative practices reveal sustainability in all aspects of our lives. We align ourselves with the natural rhythms of renewal, fostering a deeper connection with the world around us and the world within us. And this brings us back to our overarching theme for the month of April, fertilizing our future. The practice of transformation and revitalization is that which allows us to focus on our long-term cultivation of our inner and outer worlds together. And I invite us now to say together our affirmation for the morning, and we will say this 2 times, and I invite you to follow along on our screen. I embrace my regenerative power, renewing my potential with each cycle of life. I embrace my regenerative power, renewing my potential with each cycle of life. Invite us now to turn within and pray together. And as we begin our prayer this morning, I invite us to lift up our siblings in the Catholic tradition, in the Catholic faith, as I talked about during the Easter message, where we're standing in that gap, standing in that doorway, in that hallway, where something has ended and the doorway to the future has not yet opened. And so as we be in that place of consciousness and love with our siblings in the tradition of Catholicism, and as we recognize those places in our own lives where something has closed, something has ended, and we're moving into a new beginning, a place of renewal, we know that this is a place where the one life, the one power, and the one presence, that which embraces and holds everything in perfect harmony, exists. It is a place where I live, move, and have my experience of this journey called life. And as I acknowledge this and stand in the knowingness that this is true for me, I accept it, I embrace it, and I affirm it as a truth for all people in all places, everywhere. And so I speak my word this morning for our world, for our spiritual communities, for our civic engagement, for our elected leaders, for our social awareness, just embracing the allness of the various aspects of life. And I speak my word for harmony and balance, recognizing that there's only one thing happening here, and that is love and humility and respect and honor expressing in each and every one of us. It is a desire of my heart to live in harmony, to live in grace, to live in peace, to walk humbly on this planet with my siblings, with those who I know and those who I have not yet met. Living in this place of love, living in this place of knowing that my story adds to and enhances the life of someone else. And as I listen to their story, my life is enhanced and expanded as a result of the interconnectedness of the oneness, the one aspect, the joy of living in this life. as we come together in spiritual communities, however it is that we describe one another or our location. I know that there is no time and space, and there is no separation and no division in the mind of the infinite intelligence that I call God. I know God to be a source of love, a source of joy, a source of continual expression of honoring and recognizing that there's only one thing happening again, and that is God showing up as God. And so when I look out and I see another expression of God, I see an extension of myself. I see an extension of love. I see an extension of beauty. I see an extension of harmony. And this is my prayer. This is my desire. This is my intention for the world that I create around me and the world that I create within. Because I know that life is lived from the inside out, that what we feed our inner spirit, what we feed our inner soul, what we feed our mind is what expresses in form as we show up. And so as I continue to bless all people in all places everywhere, I also bless those who are experiencing transitions in life, especially those loved ones who have stepped off of the mortal plane into the realm of immortality, knowing that each time there is a memory of a smile or a story or a gesture, the loved one lives on in our hearts and minds. And so as we embrace those precious memories, we move onward into knowing that the eternality of life is absolutely a reality in form in itself. And so for this and so much more, I am grateful. And if anything that I have said this morning resonates with you in any way, I invite you to affirm it with me as we release this word together by saying, "And so it is." Now it is time for us to share in our experience of giving of our financial abundance and prosperity. And we have a statement of abundance that I would like for us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And as our greeters pass the offering basket here in the center, I would like to just continue to offer gratitude for those who support us with their donations online. You may donate online to our website, montereycsl.org. You may also text to give, and that text number is on our screen, 831-246-9694. And you may also mail in your donations to our physical address, 400 West Franklin Street here in Monterey, California. Invite you to, especially those who are viewing in our Facebook and those who are part of our YouTube family, especially those who are in Facebook. I understand that Facebook is changing the way they archive certain videos, and there will be a limited time now where the archives will be available for replay. So if you're joining us, if you're watching us on Facebook, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can go back and watch the videos from past talks and past presentations that you have found inspiring. And if today's talk resonates with you in any way, please like, share, and comment. A 3-word comment does magic for the algorithms that allows us to all of this technology stuff. But anyway, the enhancement of the algorithms allows us to spread this message throughout the entire planet that God is all there is and that we are one with each other. And we walk this planet in harmony, in peace, in charity, and in love. And we invite you to join us next week as we begin our topic for the month of May, which is raise your voice. And our talk for next Sunday will be Confidence Unleashed, the Art of Self-Advocacy. And we will discover the power of self-advocacy, learning how to cultivate the confidence and assertiveness that we speak to ourselves and we speak to others. And so for our Facebook and YouTube family, we love you, we thank you, God bless you, and we will see you next time.